Hey friends, if you're new here, my name is Marita and I sell clothes online, and in today's video I'm going to walk you through some of my sales. That way you know what to look for, what items are selling, what brands, and what styles. And I'm going to go through eBay and Poshmark, and we're going to start off with eBay. Let's go. So up first in eBay, I sold this gorgeous vintage dress, and this one is from the brand Kathy Lee, which is nothing special. Even when I looked up comps, I didn't see too much, but I really just love the style. I love the fact that it has this floral print, and within the floral print, it also had glitter, which glitter, embellishments, sparkles, anything like that does add value and makes the item more desired, especially for right now, what's trending. And I also really loved the hem, how it was asymmetrical. And then on the sleeves, you have these little bows. And so keywords that I added were goth, I put dark romantic, I put punk, I also put Y2K and 90s because this was a vintage item. And this one ended up selling for $32. Another gorgeous vintage dress, and this is from a vintage brand that I do really like to pick up. I don't pick up any of their current pieces, but I love to find their vintage items, and it's from the brand City Triangles. And this one was actually new at tags, and it was a little mini dress, and it had this paisley abstract print with this little ruffle at the hem. So keywords I added for this were retro, I put fairy, I put whimsical, I put psychedelic. I also put 90s and Y2K because this is a 90s piece. And this vintage dress ended up selling for $41. So here's an Anthropologie brand that I do really like to pick up, and it's Blank London. And normally I really love to pick up their dresses or their tops. Their tops actually do really well. But this one was an oversized kimono, and it was also just a one size, so it was a one size fits all. And it had this really nice floral print. And keywords that I added for this were boho, hippie, and login look. And this ended up going for $35. So when it comes to Billabong, the only items that I do pick up from this brand are maxi length dresses. I don't typically pick up any of their mini length ones though, just because those really tend to sit and they don't perform very well. But I did get this one because it was a button down front. You also had these off the shoulder flutter sleeves, a high slit in the front, and this beautiful floral print. And keywords that I added were boho, I put coastal. It ended up selling for $38. So this was a pretty recent pickup, and it was this Talbot's blazer. And I've talked about before how I really love to find Talbot's blazers. Talbot's for me is just a really great bread and butter brand, and then their blazers perform really well. And this one was really pretty. It was this gingham plaid print, and it was also linen and cotton, which is a really great material makeup. And keywords that I added for this were country club, preppy, and old money. This actually ended up selling for $44. So these overalls were actually free because my mom brought me some items to sell, and these were one of them. And this is a brand that I would never pick up on my own if I was going out sourcing, and the brand is Miss Look. It's just not really a great brand. It's not very expensive, brand new. But I did feel like these were gonna do well just because overalls in general do really well, and they're also an extra large. And it also had these really fun, bright graphic flowers on them. And these honestly surprised me because they sold really fast. I ended up selling them within a day of having them listed, but I did have them returned because the buyer said they didn't fit right. And so then I listed them again, and then they sold the next day. So if you guys end up finding some overalls with like fun graphic prints on them, I would definitely consider picking them up if they're reasonably priced, because this is again not a good brand, and these sold twice within just a day of being listed each time, and it ended up selling for $30. So here's a gorgeous long length dress from Anthropologie, and this one had some lacing trim, scalloping along the hem, and it also had a keyhole neckline, very romantic, very whimsical. So I did end up selling this one obviously, but I did have to sit on it. So I've had this for over a year, which I was really surprised about, but it did end up selling, and it sold for $49.50. So another Anthropologie dress, and this one was from the brand Porridge, and this one was a crew neck. You also had this long length, it was a midi length, and then I loved the contrasting colors, and it also had a leaf print. So keywords that I added were I put vacation, coastal, boho, and this one ended up selling for $59.99. I've made mention before how I do have really good luck selling Toad & Co items, especially their dresses, and this one was a really great pickup. It was an extra large, it was this really comfortable cotton knit, and on the lower hem you could actually gather up the waist to make it a little shorter if you wanted, because it was naturally a midi length. And keywords that I always use whenever I pick up this brand are granola girl, I put boho, I put camping, hiking, and outdoors. And this ended up selling for $36 really fast. So right when I found this dress, I knew it was going to be something that was really expensive just because I could see and feel how high quality it was. And you could just tell that a lot of time and effort went into making this dress. And the brand is La Femme. And this was gorgeous. Like I said, it had beading and embellishment throughout the entire thing. It went to around your knees. It had a floral print in it. And it was a good size too. It was a size 10. And this ended up selling really fast and it went for $65. And I made sure to put in keywords like event, black tie, formal wear, and wedding guest. For me, this brand is kind of a hit or a miss, and it's Rebecca Taylor. So I've sold some of their items for a good amount of money, and then some just tend to sit, and then when they do eventually sell, they don't sell for very much. But I did get this because it was a size 10, and it just looked like a really nice classic and staple piece. I really love the color too. It was this vibrant pink, and it was a fit and flare kind of skater dress. But I was happy because this actually ended up selling within just a couple weeks of listing it, and it ended up selling for $51. So originally when I found these, I didn't know anything about the brand, but I just really liked the style. I loved the fact that it was this patent leather and also had this kind of croc embossing, and then they were also loafer styles with a little heel, which right now this is a very trendy kind of style. And I'm happy I did pick this up because this was actually an Anthropologie brand, but this was a very expensive Anthropologie brand. Keywords that I added were Gossip Girl, I put preppy, I put old money, I put Sophia Richie, and these ended up selling really fast and they sold for $80. So here's a pair of sandals from the brand Dance Co, and this was actually a brand that did really well in the past for me, but it's kind of tapered off. And most of the items that they sell at the Goodwill too for this brand are marked up really high, so it's just not worth me picking up. These ones weren't marked too high. They had them marked up to $4, so that's why I did end up snagging them. But I was surprised that they ended up selling so quick, and they ended up selling for $40. And these were just a really nice pair of leather sandals, and you had the toe loop and the racer back. And yeah, just happy that I did pick this up and happy that it wasn't marked up too high. So I've made mention before how some of J. Crew's blazers and cardigans do really well, and this one I've actually sold multiple times, and it's the Juliet cardigan. And this one is a merino wool blend, and it's a long length, and it has this open front, pockets on the side, and this was a really nice color too. It was gray, which is very neutral, and this item had actually been seen on Meghan Markle. When celebrities or famous people have been seen in items, it does make the item more desired, and so I did make a point to put that in the title, and this ended up selling really fast for $40. So here's a really great brand to look out for, especially in their dresses, and the brand is Effie Hart, and they actually sell this as a ModCloth brand. I've actually sold this brand multiple times, and anytime I find it, it does really well and sells really quick. And this one was really cute. It had this novelty butterfly print, you had this little bow in the front, and you also had bows on the sleeves. And keywords that I ended up putting for this were whimsical, I put retro, pinup, and then I also put Jess from The New Girl in there. And this one ended up selling within just a couple weeks for $35. And these were from the brand New Balance, and they were a pair of men's work shoes, and they also had a steel toe. And these did end up sitting for a while, but then they ended up selling for $45. So I've talked about this brand before, and I absolutely love to find it. I love to find their current pieces and also their vintage items. Their vintage items are probably my favorite, and it's from the brand Jam's World, which is based in Hawaii. And this is gorgeous. It's a knee-length dress, and you have this really pretty floral print. And this one is a vintage item, and it was new with tags, which I think when they're new with tags items and they're also vintage, that means it's a dead stock item. And this actually ended up selling really quick for $59.99. So when it comes to soft surroundings, I am selective with it, but I do really like to pick up their Ultimate Denim pull-up pants. Those do really well, and this one was a boot cut. It was a size 1X, and this one had a lot of stretch to it, and again, it had the elastic band around the waist, which is very popular, especially for people who might have mobility issues or coordination issues. And so I do like to make sure that that's mentioned in the title that it has an elastic waist, and these ended up selling really quick for $40.50. So here's a pair of men's shoes, and they're from the brand Echo, and they're leather, just a really nice sneaker. I was actually really happy to find these at the bins, and so I didn't pay very much. I think I ended up paying $1 at the end of the day, and they ended up selling for $40. Banana Republic is not a brand that I typically source. Their items are actually pretty expensive brand new, but they just don't resell as well, at least for me. I do like to pick up some of their items, so I do pick up some of their dresses or their sweaters or jackets, but I'm very selective with it. But I do love to pick up their men's pieces. Their cardigans and jackets for the men do really well. And this one was actually new at Tags, and it was just this really nice cardigan. It had a shawl neck, and it was a chunky knit. And keywords that I added for this, I put academic, preppy, classic, and old money. And this actually ended up selling for $50. So another bins pickup, and this one is from the brand Michael Strahan, which I don't think I'm saying that right. And even in the video when I picked this up, I think people had made mention that it was like a TV guy or a TV host, or he used to play like professional football or something. I don't know, I don't watch TV and I don't watch sports, so I'm kind of clueless. But I did pick this up just because I thought it was a nice blazer and it was at the bins, and so I ended up paying $1 for it, and it had this really nice window pane plaid, and this actually ended up selling for $42.99. So I have never heard of this brand before, and it's Kai Bun Air. But I did pick them up because when I looked up comps, they were doing really well, and even so much so that I picked these up even though they weren't in the best condition. They kind of looked a little grungy and just, again, not in the best condition. But I just disclosed the condition in the description and then made sure to put pictures from all angles of the shoe. And they actually ended up selling twice. So they sold one time for $55, and then they got returned because they didn't fit. And then they sold again for $50. But I guess this brand is made in Italy, and they make really high quality running shoes. And they're normally very like bold and colorful, like these ones were. These ones are pink and yellow and blue. But I am happy that I did pick this up, and I hope that I find this brand again. Okay, right when I found these, I knew that they were gonna do really well. First off, it's from the brand New Balance, which is a really great brand, and they are men's shoes, which men's shoes always perform better for me. And they also were very unique. So they had like teeth on them, and they had this very bold coloring, and then they also said Naples and then made in England. And so I actually just ended up taking a picture at the store and then Google Lensing them, and I guess they were a rare piece from New Balance, and I'm so happy that I picked them up because they ended up selling for $145. But like I say, if I find anything that's unique or different, I always look it up. And for the most part, I always pick it up just because unique and different and even ugly things sell really well. Then another really great sale, and these ones are from the brand 7 for All Mankind, and this is the dojo style, which that just means that it has the thick stitching on the back that make up a 7 on the pockets. And this is actually the only style from 7 for All Mankind that I will pick up. All the other ones just sit and they don't do well, so I personally wouldn't pick them up, but the dojo ones do really well. And these were also a boot cut, almost flare leg, and they were a dark wash. And I actually ended up picking these up from a consignment store sale for $5, and they ended up selling for $79.99. So I've only ever found this brand 2 times now, but each time it is sold really fast and for a good amount of money. And the brand is Mini Rose. I don't know too much about this brand, but the 2 items that I have picked up were both cashmere, so that might play a factor on why they did so well. And this one is just a nice V-neck sweater. It was oversized and 100% cashmere, which is always a really great factor. And it was solid black, so nice classic, neutral, quiet luxury, minimalistic piece. And this actually ended up selling within days of being listed for $44.99. Okay, so I absolutely love this 2-piece set, and it's from the brand April Cornell, and this was a vintage item, so it's 90s and Y2K, and keywords that I added for this were romantic. I put fairy, dreamy, whimsical, and this was absolutely gorgeous. It, like I said, is a 2-piece set, so it came with a shirt, and the shirt had this asymmetrical hem with this kind of overlay look as well, and then you had the little flutter sleeves and a cowl neck, which cowl necks are really popular right now, and then it came with a long maxi length skirt, and it was also this gorgeous floral print, and then within the floral print it had some sequencing in there, so really great factors, and I knew that this was going to do really well. And I've actually had really great luck with this vintage brand, and so when I found this set I was really excited, and this set actually ended up selling for $69.99. So here's another brand that I am very selective with now, and it's Free People. And I do really like to pick up their items if they're very embroidered, very boho, very unique, or just kind of bold, but for the most part I do pass up on almost all of the Free People items that I find now. But I ended up picking this one up just because originally I was planning on keeping it for my own personal closet, but I just didn't love the fit on me, so I ended up selling it. And this one was really nice. It had this patchwork print. You also had some embroidery in it. It was just a very comfortable Henley tee, and this actually ended up selling for $39.99, which I was kind of pleasantly surprised with just because I haven't been able to get a really good return on Free People, so I was really happy with that sale. So you guys might remember this dress. I actually just recently picked it up in one of my thrift videos, and it's from the brand Ibex, which does really well, and I haven't found it in so long, so I was so happy to find it. This is a really great outdoors brand to look for, and their items are normally made of really high quality merino wool, which this one was. This is 100% merino wool, and this one is a long sleeve sweater dress that hits around your knees. And keywords that I added for this were outdoors. I put camping, hiking, and then winter wear, and this ended up selling for $79.99. All right, and that is it for my eBay sales, and now we're gonna move on to Poshmark. So up first in Poshmark, we have this gorgeous Garnet Hill jacket, and this was actually made out of recycled material, and it was this really nice quilted card coat. It also had a detachable hood, and it was lightweight, a really great piece for fall time, and I absolutely loved the color. I do personally like to pick up Garnet Hill. Their items are very high quality and very well made. Keywords that I love to use for that brand are always minimalistic. I'll put neutral, quiet luxury, and then staple. And this ended up selling for $56. So another item that I actually ended up getting for free, my aunt lives in Alaska, and she ended up finding a bunch of just boots at the store that they were giving away for free. And so she sent me a ton of them, and this was one of them. And it's from the brand Dune London, which is a brand that they do sell at Thursday Boots. And these were brand new. They had never been worn. They were in amazing condition, and they were just a nice pair of Chelsea ankle booties. And they ended up selling really fast within just days for $42 on Poshmark. So again, another vintage piece from April Cornell, and the last two-piece set was 90s vintage. This one is actually 70s vintage, and it was this really nice maxi length skirt. It was also corduroy, which I've made mention so many times now. Corduroy is doing really well right now, and this definitely made me think of peasant. I put prairie, cottagecore, boho, and hippie, and this ended up selling really fast for $34. Here's just a nice bread and butter sale, and it's from J. Jill, and it's just this nice oversized sweater. It has a V-neck, and it's a wool, cotton, and silk blend, so really great materials. And yeah, nothing too exciting about this. A very neutral, minimalistic, and staple piece to have in your closet, and it ended up selling for $29. So here's another piece from Garnet Hill, and this one is actually one of their sleeper dresses. So it's a dress that you obviously wear for bedtime. It's a pajama piece, and it's actually made out of organic cotton, and it had this really pretty floral print, this kind of faux wrap neckline, and it was very comfortable, very lightweight and breathable. And I actually do like to pick up night dresses. They perform really well, and this one ended up selling really fast for $28. So this is again one of those brands that retails for a lot of money and is very expensive, but just doesn't resell like you would think it would be. And it's Lafayette 148 New York. And there are some items that I do like to pick up. I do still like to pick up their career or professional wear items. And I did get this one because it was a wool blend. It's a pair of nice straight leg slacks. And so this is a perfect piece for any kind of career or workwear setting. And these ended up selling for $38. So another sale that was a pickup from the bins, which I actually haven't gone to the bins since my last bin video. And let me know if you want to see me go to the bins again. I don't know what it is. Sometimes the bins can be very overwhelming, but last time I did find a lot of good stuff. So again, let me know if you want to see another video at the bins. But anyway, these are a pair of Tahari pants, and I actually ended up, like I said, picked these up at the bins. So I paid $1 for them, and they were 100% linen, which linen is a really great material makeup, very high quality, and they were also wide leg, and then it had a pull-on elastic waist, which again, I put that in the title because people will specifically look out elastic waist if they have any coordination issues, or if it's just something that's more convenient for them. It is a desired factor. And these ended up selling for $20, which I do feel like I could have got more, but again, I only paid $1, so still happy with this sale. So you guys might remember this one. I just picked it up and it's this gorgeous Bowden dress and it had this nice rib knitting. It also had pockets, 3/4 sleeves, and then it hit around the knees. And I've actually sold this exact dress before. This will be the 4th time. And anytime I do list this brand, I always like to put classy, classic, preppy, and European in my keywords. And this one ended up selling really fast and it sold for $42. So I had a really good feeling that this was gonna do really well, and it's this vintage Pendleton skirt, and it's actually 100% virgin wool, and it had this really beautiful plaid print, and then it also had this buckling and fringe detail, and this was absolutely stunning. Keywords that I added were obviously vintage, I put Scottish and holiday, and this surprisingly sold really fast for $100. Another nice fall pickup, and this one is from the brand Franco Sardo, and there's some nice riding boots. They also have a wedge hidden heel, and then you have this really nice buckling detail up the whole side. And keywords that I added for this, I put boho, punk, and pirate, and they ended up selling for $40. I absolutely love to pick up riding boots, especially during this time of year. So when I first picked up this item, I was expecting it to sell a lot quicker than it did, but I'm happy that it did sell. And it's a pair of pants from Cabela's, and Cabela's known for outdoors, hiking, camping, hunting, and fishing items. And these were a really nice pair of goose down insulated puffer pants, which I've never found anything like this. And there was an imperfection though. So on the knee, you can see that there was a hole and then somebody sewed it up. So I did disclose that. I put that in the description and then took pictures up close to it. But these did end up selling. They ended up selling for $50. So in my last video, I just talked about how I ended up finding 2 of these Faraday tees, and I ended up selling the white one really quick, and then right after that video, I ended up selling the gray one. So this is just a really nice long sleeve tee, and it has this eyelet striping in it. This brand does make really high quality items, and their items are normally pretty expensive, and this one ended up selling for $34. So another item that my mom gave me for free, and these are from the brand Think, which I've never heard of before, but I did like these because they had this patchwork woven leather, which I thought was really fun and unique. And so I ended up selling these really fast for $32, which I do feel like is really good for a brand that I've never heard of. And even when I looked it up, I didn't find too much. And then also them being sandals, and we're going into fall and winter time, I was really happy with that sale. So here's another item from Anthropologie, and it's from the brand Pilcrow and the Letterpress. And these were a really neat pair of overalls. They're actually called the painter overalls, and they're very slouchy, and they have a full button up front. And they're just really fun. I wish that these were my size, but they are definitely too small. And these actually ended up selling really quick for $60. And I really don't find too many pairs of overalls whenever I go out sourcing, but if I do, and if it's a good brand, I always pick them up just because overalls are very desired, and whenever I do find them, they sell really fast. So here's a nice pair of Zara leather booties, and these ones had some nice strapping and buckling details. And I ended up putting moto, motorcycle, and punk, and steampunk, and goth into my keywords. And these ended up selling for $32. And I honestly do really like to pick up Zara boots, especially if they're leather. They have consistently done well for me. And then yet another item that I picked up from that bins haul. Again, I feel like I really need to go to the bins because I have just recently sold a bunch of those items. So I feel like this is a sign that I need to go back to the bins. Anyway, these are from the brand Vince Commuto, and these are a really nice pair of heeled leather riding boots. They were in great condition, especially from being at the outlet. And yeah, they're knee-high riding boots, like I said, a really great staple during fall time. And these ended up selling for $30. And I do feel like I probably could have held out and waited for a little bit more, but I was happy to just get them out of my closet and make room for new inventory. And again, I only paid $1 for these. And then another sale from J. Crew, and this one is actually a 2-piece pajama set. And originally I did pick this up for myself, but I have too many pajamas, and so I just decided to sell it. And it's this nice Henley top, and it also is a waffle knit, and it's striped, and the set ended up selling for $28. All right, you guys, I think that's it for today, and I hope that this video gave you some value and that maybe you learned some new styles or new brands to look out for. But as always, if you guys think that I earned a like on this video or your subscription, I would really appreciate that. But either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, friends.